Hi there, my name is Brad. I co-host a morning radio show on 95.7 KEZJ in Twin Falls, Idaho. And this is my second video in what I believe is going to be about a 10-part series on how to pursue a career in radio if you're interested in getting into the radio business. And in my first video in the series, we talked about the question, am I a good fit for radio? Am I somebody who can do radio? And I explained that the answer to whether or not you're right for radio really is up to you and only you. There is no friend, there is no family member, there's no mentor, there's no radio manager who really can tell you that you're not cut out for this business. That answer is up to you. And we talked about that in my first video. Now, I also told you that even though that you are the person that gets to decide whether or not you're cut out for radio, that doesn't mean that there aren't some fundamentals that you need to be aware of when making your own decision. And for this video, I would like to start about the fundamentals of the voice. Now, some of you are going to really like what I have to say about this, and others of you might not, depending on what you've heard from other people. Now, you might be somebody who has heard, wow, you've got a great voice for radio. And with that, I'm going to stop you for just a second. And that's because the voice isn't as important as you would think. Now, I know you're thinking, what are you talking about, Brad? I've heard, the voice is what radio is all about. You're somebody who speaks for a living, and you got to have a great voice for radio, right? Not necessarily. The overall sound or quality of your voice really has a lot less to do with how successful you're going to be in radio than you would think. So if you're somebody who's heard time and time again that you've got a wonderful voice and you should be on the radio, you've still got some work to do. And for those of you who may have been told that you don't have a great voice, or maybe you're just insecure and you don't think you've got a great voice, this might actually encourage you. The idea of having a voice for radio or a radio voice is a little bit of a dated idea. It comes from an era in broadcasting where DJs, what they used to call them. Now, we prefer the term radio personalities because DJs means a whole different thing. But, it is what it is, and a lot of you say DJ, which is perfectly fine. But in a lot of cases, those voices you heard were headless, faceless voices. A lot of their delivery was often contrived. Extra energy was infused to it. It almost sound over-announcery is what a lot of people might refer to it as. And that's not to say that some of the best radio personalities don't happen to also have great voices, but that's not always the case, especially today. Best way to describe this, think of the radio people that you like on your favorite radio station. Now, what comes to mind when you think about why you like them? Chances are their voice was not the first thing that you thought of. You probably thought of something that they said that made you laugh, a story maybe that they told you that you thought was funny, or even something that they shared with you that made you feel emotional. Maybe you cried with them when they shared something very personal with you. Now, you might have picked up on where I'm heading with this, and that is the people that you're remembering, or the people that mean something to you, are the radio people who do a good job of connecting with you on a very personal level. And that honestly has very little to do with the actual voice itself. It's more about how you use your voice, or more importantly, how you use your ability to communicate. That's important. Ask yourself, do I have the ability to communicate thoughts and ideas to others in a way that they can relate to? Can I make people feel? Can I engage somebody in a conversation and do so in a way that they're interested in what I have to say? Do I have the ability to figure out what to talk about depending on who I'm talking to? Can I choose an appropriate discussion depending on whether or not I'm talking to a young child or a parent or a grandparent? So, voice aside, one of the fundamentals you need to consider when trying to decide if you should pursue a career in radio isn't, do I have a great voice? The real question you need to answer for yourself is, can I engage someone in a conversation? Do I have the basic social skills to carry on a conversation that means something to the person who is listening? And let me throw in a quick disclaimer too. You don't necessarily have to be the life of the party to answer yes. Plenty of radio talent I know, and plenty of very successful radio talent I know, have origins rooted in somewhat socially awkward personalities. And we'll cover that in a later vidcast as well. In the meantime, I want you to take away this one thing from this episode. You do not have to have a great voice, in quotation marks, to have a successful career in radio. I'm Brad. Thanks for watching. Be sure to leave comments. If you like this, that would be fantastic too. And share it with other people you think might be interested in a career in radio. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you next week.